Good Tuesday morning, 3 minutes past 10 o'clock. We're already up to 73 degrees. And this morning on KRIM's Community Forum, we have folks with us from the Rim Country Camera Club. This is pretty interesting stuff. Actually, with us in the studio, we have Carl Kjellstrom. He is the president of the Rim Country Camera Club, also board member, and their calendar coordinator, Sue Zen, is with us. And Steve Christensen also is a contributor with us in the studio. So first of all, thanks to all of you for being here. But let me start out by bothering Carl here. Carl Kjellstrom, you're the president of the Rim Country Camera Club. How long has the Camera Club been around?
You know, the Camera Club's been around about 7 years.
Yeah.
And 7 to 10 years. And the genesis was a group of photo enthusiasts who got together and said, look, we believe that there's interest out there. Let's try and put together something a little informally.
Right.
This is the first year we finally incorporated as a nonprofit through the Arizona Corporation Commission.
So you got your 501c3.
We did.
All right.
And so the next step is for us to file the tax exempt service with the IRS.
Wow, very cool. Well, and about how many members do you have so far?
We currently have 41 paid members.
Wow.
Our email distribution is over 200. And we have a lot of people that drop into our monthly programs, but the membership is currently at 41. Very reasonable membership fees are $20 for an individual,
Wow.
$25 for a family, or $15, and that's annually for
Wow,
students.
that is really reasonable. Now, when you talk about these monthly events, what kind of things are you doing at these?
So we do have monthly instructional programs.
Mm-hmm.
We share our photographs. We're able to give each other critique and feedback on the photography. And we also have some social events where people are just informally sharing information.
Right.
There's a lot of spin-offs that occur, people getting together at various locations around the Rim Country to photograph various aspects, wildlife or landscape, things like that.
Well, and I would think that there's probably people of all different skill levels that have become members. And what an amazing opportunity to, if you're just getting into photography, to be able to have some of these people that have been at it for a while kind of look over your shoulder and say, hey, you might want to try this or do this. And I mean, that makes a lot of sense.
Absolutely. We have everybody from the novice photographer, and we get a lot of our membership through the community college, through their beginning photography program.
Right.
We also have several members, paid members, who are professionals. This is what they do for their income and to make a living. So yes, we have a variety of skill levels. We have a variety of membership age-wise, but we're really looking to reach out now to the younger audience, perhaps even as young as high school students that have a interest, and we welcome them to join our club also.
That's a great opportunity for them. Well, you know, one of the things that I know about the Rim Country Camera Club is for a while now, you all have been producing an annual calendar that just has some absolutely stunning photographs in it. And the person who's the calendar coordinator, Sue, and last name is Zen, not Susan, get it right. But at any rate, Sue, the calendar, first of all, absolutely magnificent in the photographs that have been submitted and approved in the past to be in the calendar. And I know I want to talk a little bit more about this year's calendar here in a moment, but it's amazing the talent that comes out of little old Rim Country.
It is amazing, and thank you for the compliment about our calendars. For 7 years, we have done this project now, and it really entails more than people might think. We start in January, and the project continues pretty much through the whole year. We're done by October when everything wraps up, but then we have sales through December.
Right.
So it's a year-round project that we accomplish with a lot of dedication, but without all of the amazing photographers here in this area, we wouldn't have a calendar. So we're very grateful for those who submit their photos, take that risk, and then wait and wonder, is my photo good enough?
Well, and that's just it. I mean, I think that one of the toughest parts has to be a plethora of photographs that are submitted, and then you got to boil it down to what, 12 photographs?
There are 12 monthly pages,
Uh-huh.
and then each month there are usually 2, sometimes 3 photos in small inserts where there's a blank spot on the page. So in total, we usually have about 30 to 35 photos
So
in the
it's
calendar.
gotta be tough to weed through all of that to figure out what, who the finalists are and all of that. How many people do you have helping with that?
We have a committee of about 8, so
Wow.
we divvy it up.
Mhm.
But it's always this push through each phase of the calendar project. First, we have to decide what's this year's theme,
Right,
and how do we want to go about presenting the RIM country.
right.
And then we have a call for submissions that comes out in usually February, March.
Mhm.
We also pay for the cost of the calendar through sponsorship advertising. So that's another subset of our project, is those who are seeking the sponsorships. We want every proceed from the calendar to go to the food banks here in the Payson area.
Wow, great idea.
So in the past, we've been able to give every dollar that was purchased, the purchase dollars of the calendars, to the food banks in Pine and here in Payson.
What an excellent cause, and there's such a huge need, and it's neat that the Rim Country Camera Club wants to do that. You mentioned that usually by the time October rolls around, you've got it up, everything is ready to print as far as the next year's calendar, and then you go, as soon as that comes back, you go into sales mode on that?
Yes, it goes to print in September. We usually receive the calendars by October 1st.
Right,
This year, because of our situation in 2020,
right.
we're going to start allowing pre-order and pre-purchase of the calendars. Normally, we put the printed calendars out in many businesses around Payson, so people can just go in and purchase them in those locations.
Right.
Because of the business situation this year, we felt that was asking an awful lot. So we're going to take pre-orders, and we can designate 3 or 4 places around town where people can go and pick up the calendar when they come in.
Nice.
So we'll probably be starting sales next week with the order forms going out.
And you're going to be announcing pretty soon whose photographs were included in this next year's
Right.
calendar, right?
Yes, this year we received about 300 photos
Wow.
from 40 different photographers.
And you got to whittle that down to 10% of that.
That's correct.
Wow.
So that was a very daunting challenge. It was
Yeah.
thrilling to have such a hard job in
Right.
choosing so many photos. But we also did everything we could to pick the finest photo available, yet spread the wealth. So as many photographers as possible are represented in the calendar as well.
Outstanding. Well, one of the things too is that photography has changed a whole bunch over the years, in that everything used to be, you had to shoot on film, and if you were a professional or really into it, you might have your own dark room and that type of thing. And there was not only photography skills needed out in the field, but then also darkroom skills and everything else. And certainly with modern technology, that's gotten a lot better. But one of the members of the club, a longtime friend, Steve Christensen, thank you for being
Morning.
with us. Now, you are one of the purists that like to hang on to the old style, and I noticed you brought a large format camera with you here today.
Yeah, I did.
Now, what kind is that?
Well, this is actually made in China. It's a Shen Hao.
Ah.
And so what looks to be an antique is really not.
Oh, really? Wow. So that's a fairly recently produced camera,
This particular camera is probably about 15 years old. I bought it used,
right?
and they still produce them. And of course, there are antiques
Mm-hmm.
and that, but it's a large format. So it shoots a piece of film that is 4 inches by 5 inches,
Right.
which is this size right here.
Right.
So the information is over a large area.
And if you want to blow it up into a larger picture, the resolution is such that you can get away with that, whereas maybe shooting 35 millimeter, a little bit tougher.
Yes, so we're starting with a much larger original image. So if we blew this up 4 times, it would be 8 by 10.
Right.
If you took a 35 millimeter, which is about the size of a stamp, you'd be blowing it up many more times than that. And so you lose some of your clarity
Right.
doing that. And so really photography to me is an art form.
Sure.
So as an art form, this is a tool. So you can use a digital format, You can go from inexpensive to very expensive, very detailed, very programmable kind of camera. You can use a cell phone. The cell phones are amazingly good
And most
cameras
of
now.
them shooting, 4K quality and,
Right.
and some pretty good white balance capabilities and stuff. It's really pretty remarkable.
Precisely.
what
So
it
those to me are tools. It doesn't mean that we should be prejudiced from one to the other. I have a digital camera.
Sure.
I just love doing this. I love the way it slows me down.
Mhm.
I love the way I can make adjustments. It's totally and completely analog. There's not a single battery or wire in it, no computer.
Right.
I have to determine my exposure using another old school meter.
Right.
This is probably 45 years old. And I use the zone system that Ansel Adams developed. And so from there, I calculate my exposure. So when I go into the field, and it takes me 20 or 30 minutes to set my camera up once I determine what I want to take a photo of, and the time of day I want to take that photo, and the angle, and the height of the camera,
Right.
and the focal plane, and what I'm going to do with it, whether it's landscape or portrait, and all of that, then I determine the exposure. So I have a vision for what I want the outcome to be, and quite often I'll just take one photograph. I'll pull my slide out and take one photograph, and I don't take 30 photographs of that. First of all, the film costs about $3 a piece, so.
Yeah. So you got to be careful with that.
Right, so it's more expensive, it's more time consuming, it's heavier, but I love the way it pulls the artist out of me.
Right.
Right.
And and what again, I want to go back to what an amazing opportunity it can be. A lot of folks, still, maybe they just got introduced to photography through
Right.
digital photography, even using their cell phone or the new digital SLRs and stuff like that. But to be able to be in a club where you can talk to folks that know how to do the old school stuff. I mean, there's a purity there that it's really pretty hard to emulate even with the digital stuff. There's something really magnificent about it.
Yeah, the club is very diverse, and I would encourage anyone to come. You don't have to be a professional and know everything. That's the point. Just come. I have learned so much being in this club, just from others that said, I'm trying this, I'm doing that.
Wow.
And so then if I can pay that forward with someone else and say, well, try this.
Right.
There's a very technical aspect to photography, and you want to know those technical things, but you don't want to get so focused on them that that's the only thing you're doing. You want to enjoy what you're doing, and I just love photography.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And things have changed so much, instead of, for a lot of folks that are into the digital photography, instead of a lot of the darkroom time, they spend more time maybe getting familiar with Photoshop and other programs like that for
Right.
digital image editing. And my goodness, the sky's the limit as far as where you can go with all of that. So it's kind of fascinating. And the Rim Country Camera Club, again, talking with their president, Carl Chelstrom, how often do you all meet?
Okay, so we meet monthly, the third Wednesday of each month at various locations. We were using the library, but it's under construction.
Right.
So this next month we'll be meeting at the Lutheran Church on 260.
Mount Cross Lutheran.
And it's the third Wednesday, 6 p.m. And everybody is welcome. You do not have to be a member of the club to participate and enjoy these seminars and presentations.
And is that in the log building there? Where you
Yes.
mean?
Yes, it is.
Okay, and that's at 601 East Highway 260, Mount Cross Lutheran Church. What's the date and time again?
It'll be the third Wednesday
Third
at
Wednesday.
6 p.m.
6 p.m. Perfect. Okay, and Sue, I'm intrigued with. Of course, I'm always anxious to see this year's calendar and stuff. Can you give us maybe just a couple of hints about maybe some of the high points in the photographs? I mean, somebody, get a shot while hanging inverted from underneath the helicopter going over a herd of zebra, or anything unusual?
Yeah, zebra are a bit hard to find in Rim Country.
Yeah, very
but,
rarely photographed. Yes.
There are stunning photos, as always. We have photos that represent every season of the year. That was our theme this year, the
Right.
season. So some magnificent shots of snow as well as cactus blooming. It's a good diverse collection of photos. The printing should not be ignored as well. Our person who does the graphic design of the calendars is a former professional printer. She knows her stuff.
Right.
So we thank Nicole for her hard work on this. and she insists that the quality of the print be ready for framing. So often we encourage our purchasers of the calendar to buy it, and then as the year goes by, frame the photos.
Right.
That's what they're for.
And I think I know the answer to this, but Nicole's last name?
Reynolds.
Ah, yes, okay, same Nicole. Yeah, hey Nicole, good work.
Yes, she does a wonderful job for us on that. The topics this year landed more in scenery. Sometimes we have more people in the calendar.
Mhm.
This year there are few, but it was very interesting when we said seasons, and we of course ended up with a lot of scenery of rim country, and that's what we're looking for, is representation of rim country.
Well, I assume that because the fire season lasted almost a year, that it was all gonna just be fire photos, but that's not the case. It's gonna be interesting, all kidding aside, and again, that calendar will be available when again?
It'll be available for sale or pickup if you've purchased it ahead of time, October 1st or shortly after that. Watch our Facebook page, it's R3C Rim Country Camera Club, and that is where the reveal of the photos for this coming year will start taking place in
Nice.
the next few days.
Very cool. And when it comes to, going back to talking with Steve Christensen again, when it comes to folks like you that are using large format film and you know, a bit more of a purist when it comes to photography, landscape your favorite thing, or what do you typically go after?
Landscape's my favorite thing at the moment, and I wanted, and it's not intimidating for me to do that. When I'm taking a photo of a mountain, it just sits there and it's not bored with me. But I want to get into doing stunning portraiture, you know, mainly like a head shot,
Right.
Shoulders up, kind of a thing, in black and white.
You just
where-
haven't been able to find any people that don't get
Oh, there's
bored with
plenty
you,
of
or-
people, but that's something I need to courage my way to do, because the lighting, all that's very important when you're doing that.
Sure.
And I love black and white, and I think it renders an image just really very artistically. And so I am afraid I'm going to be boring whoever I'm taking a picture of, because I'm not doing it right. And see, I don't have instant feedback on this. My film doesn't tell me
Right.
whether or not the shot is any good at all. So anyway, so
You
that's
find
my
that out
next
much
challenge.
later in the darkroom. Yeah.
My next challenge is to go after some portraiture.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
And now when it comes to this type of large format camera, how long have you been working with these?
Well, I've been doing this about 7 years now.
Yeah.
So, and like I said before, I have a Nikon D80, so I
Yeah.
shot digital, have thousands of digital images, and then I just one day said, I'd love to try this, and I've fallen in love. I actually have about 4 cameras that shoot film. This is my largest, and then this is what's called the 120 roll.
Right.
Okay, so roll film is still very available in black and white and in color. And this roll film then gives me the opportunity to shoot 12 shots with one of my cameras, and then another one of my cameras, which is a Fuji, and these are 45-year-old cameras, completely analog, completely, and it shoots a very wide format that would be the equivalent of 3 square frames wide. So
Right.
it's actually called a 6x17, and that represents centimeters. So
Right.
about 2.25 inches by 6 inches wide.
Right.
And so that one camera will shoot 4 photos on this one roll of film. The roll is much more convenient, it's less expensive to run, it doesn't take as long to take the photo.
Sure.
And so it's very versatile that way, and it's great. So that's the 2 formats I shoot. This is considered medium format,
Right.
and the 35mm would be considered the small.
Small format. Right. And going back once again, you know, it would seem to me, Carl, again, Carl Chelstrom, the president of the Rim Country Camera Club, it would seem to me that one of the biggest advantages to getting involved in the camera club is just that learning from each other and sharing notes. And I mean, to me, that would make it all very much worthwhile.
Absolutely, and because we have such a variety of our membership, we also have a huge variety in the interest of the photographers. And I jotted down just a couple of different photographic ideas. Outdoor photography, streams, lakes, waterfalls, landscapes, cityscapes, portraits, individual groups, wildlife photography, domestic pet photography, street photography, documentary photography, still life, fine art, architecture, real estate, abstract photography, Steve's black and white, stop action, motion photography, infrared, drone photography is up and coming, close-up, macro, night photography is huge interest in the club. Product and food photography, senior portraits, wedding. There's just almost no end to the type of photography that's available for people of interest, that has interest in it. And the beauty of the club is that there's that spectrum all the way across the board.
Right. And when you talk about nighttime photography, I'm assuming that you are speaking about like astrophotography, taking pictures of the night sky and things like that. And I know there's been, just speaking of Facebook locally, a number of different photographers who I've seen their work, and it's always amazing, between catching the motion of the stars, the rotation of the, well, actually of the planet. I do understand just a little bit about this, but the way that's captured, and then also being able to use a flashlight and paint light into the picture in different places to highlight it. I mean, it really opens up an amazing world of creativity outside at night.
Yeah, absolutely, and as a matter of fact, our last month's presenter was actually done on night photography, and he talked extensively about shooting the Milky Way, the star trails, and a little bit of the light painting as you described.
Right.
There's also night flash photography with radio control flashes now that you can add highlights at different aspects of them onto your subject. So yes.
My wife tells me I can't flash anymore, so I gotta stop that one. And, sorry, bad joke. Sue, when it comes to, is there any of the nighttime photography showing up in the calendar at all?
Yes, there is. There's,
And
thinking.
we don't want to give
There
away
is.
too many details
There
yet.
is.
Okay, so very
Yes.
cool. I mean, because to me talk about landscape, and I mean that's
It's fascinating.
universe-scape or whatever the proper term would be. Fascinating stuff. And again, you can find out a lot more about the Rim Country Camera Club by just going on Facebook and looking them up there. And again, they're meeting once a month, and boy, the annual fee only $20 to be a member of the Rim Country Camera Club. $25 for the whole family to be a member. I think that's a screaming deal. And boy, if you just Steve, to me, I've been into photography for a long time, but I don't profess to understand everything I know about what I need to know. But being able to bump elbows with people that have been down a certain, like the astrophotography or the nighttime photography, if you haven't done that before and you're trying to figure out your shutter speed and f-stop settings and things like that, a few tips from a fellow club member can make all the difference, and all of a sudden you're out having a blast.
Absolutely, and I think we learn so much from each other, and I'm not shy to share. I'm not possessive of my knowledge.
Right.
We need to share this stuff, keep it alive and keep it going. Film is not dead.
Right.
And in fact, there's a resurgence of it.
Sure.
Yeah.
And even if you are, maybe you don't know much at all about photography and you have just a basic camera or something, or you're thinking about buying one, even if your goal is just to take better pictures, family pictures this year at Christmas, there's a lot that you can learn between, again, the camera settings, or maybe your the focal length with the lens that you're using to get the effect as far as blurring out the background. And there's a lot of different little simple things that once someone shows you, it's like, oh, that's easy. And until they show you, it's like trying to figure out nuclear fission.
We'd love to come back sometime and just talk about tips.
There you go.
Little things that might improve your photography, what to look for, things like that. We could even talk about the cone of confusion. Nothing to do with Washington.
Yeah. Oddly, that was the first thing that came to my mind. But nonetheless, I tell you what, a lot of great interest, a lot of great people, and some amazing information that you can get by just attending the next meeting of the Rim Country Camera Club. You consider becoming a member, and again, they meet, it was the third Wednesday?
Right.
The third Wednesday of the month, and it's over at 7 p.m. at Mount Cross Lutheran Church. That's the one at 601 East Highway 260 there on the south side of the road, right across from Tiny's Restaurant, and it'll be in the log building there. So
6 p.m.
6 p.m. I'm sorry. That's why you held up 6 fingers. It's early in the morning. I haven't had enough coffee yet. Anyway, the bottom line is this is a great group. And how many people involved again? How many members right now? 200, you said?
Well, we have 200 on our email subscribership.
Wow.
We have 41 paid memberships.
Right.
And some of those obviously are the family membership.
Oh, there you go.
And so, but like I said before, do not have to be a member to attend. It's open to anybody that has an interest. Depending on who the presenter is, this month will be Harold Rush.
Oh, he's very good.
He's a very good photographer, and he has a special niche in real estate photography. And he's going to open that up, so perhaps real estate professionals may want to attend this particular
And
meeting.
I've seen a lot of his work. He does outstanding work, and especially it seems like more and more people want that twilight shot of the warmth from within, and he captures that as good, if not better, than anybody. And it's usually just a few little pointers, and you too can be pulling off those kind of shots too. So consider taking part the third Wednesday of the month at 6 p.m. at Mount Cross Lutheran Church. It's the Rim Country Camera Club. Thanks once again to the Camera Club president, Carl Chelstrom, for being with us, as well as Sue Zen, their calendar coordinator and board member, and Steve Christensen. Thanks for bringing in what looks like an old camera, but really isn't. That takes me back a ways looking at that.
Thank you, Randy.
You bet.
It's been great.
Thank you all.